Day 5 for the LEGO Star Wars Advent Calendar 2024 is the 2003 AT-AT Imperial Walker set, number 4483. It came with 2 snowtroopers, an AT-AT pilot and a Luke Skywalker minifigure, and a speeder bike. AT-AT, or AT-AT, stood for All-Terrain Armoured Transport, and it was also known as the Imperial Walker. This was a major part of the Galactic Empire's motor pool. It carried a vast amount of firepower and was heavily armoured. The AT-AT was arguably the most feared and most effective land vehicle in the Imperial Army. It was one of the most astonishing vehicles in the Imperial Army's inventory, and hundreds of these walkers were produced during the Galactic Civil War. Its intimidating and powerful presence often earned it the distinction of being the first vehicle into a combat zone. The head of the walker was a movable section containing the command cockpit, with room for the commander, a pilot and a gunner. This command section housed all of the AT-AT's weapon systems, as well as the holographic targeting systems, allowing the gunners a 360-degree view of their position. The cockpit was also equipped with a holographic projector for purposes of external communications. Forward visualization was supplied by the glowing red command viewport, something that was quite feared from the outside. The head could rotate 90 degrees left or right and 30 degrees up or down for an expansive field of fire. Positioned above and below the command section was the Walker's sensor array and the blaster cannon energizer. The AT-AT's body or troop section could carry 4 speeder bikes, up to 40 troopers, and weaponry such as the E-Web heavy repeating blasters. In lieu of the troopers, the voluminous bay could also hold 2 AT-STs, although they had to be partially dismantled to fit in. Positioned in the centre of the boarding section was a rectangular boarding hatch, with sliding ramps where the AT-AT's complement of troops was loaded and disembarked. The AT-AT unloaded its troops by kneeling to 3 metres above the ground level until a boarding ramp could be extended downwards and below. Individual stormtroopers could also be deployed rapidly via rappelling cables. Below the troop body section were the 2 immense QAT drive yards FW62 compact fusion drive systems that, in conjunction with the walker's 4 giant heavily reinforced legs, propelled the AT-AT forward at a top speed of 60 kilometers an hour. This maximum rate was only achievable on flat, stable terrain though. But while at first appearing to be a slow lumbering vehicle, the AT-AT would often be on top of its enemies before they knew what had hit them. At the rear were atmospheric exchangers and a filtration unit to regulate the interior living conditions. The walker's legs were supported by massive Durasteel footpads with impulse terrain sensors, supplemented by toe flaps. These could crush obstacles in their path with little effort, effectively helping the AT-AT to live up to its name. The legs did, however, require constant maintenance and repair. As the Titanic Walker marched down the battlefield, its heavy, stomping feet would cause the ground to shake, demoralising the enemy before they were even engaged. The formidable firepower was supplied by dual chin-mounted Taman-Back MS-1 fire-linked heavy laser cannons, and 2 fire-linked medium repeating blasters mounted each side of the head, and these were designed for the lighter, more agile targets. These 2 sets of weapons could be independently rotated in order to engage multiple targets at once. The strong external 1995 T-8511 grade Durasteel armour was virtually impervious to all but the heaviest of artillery fire. Possibly the most vulnerable part of the walker was its flexible neck. This was susceptible to light blaster damage. If punctured, this could lead to a reactor breach. The legs were also somewhat unstable, and these could be tripped due to the high centre of gravity of the walker, leaving it defenceless on the ground. Only the most experienced of the pilots could regain a walker's stability once it was tripped. The AT-80 also lacked armour covering on its underbelly, leaving this spot vulnerable to mounted guns or portable missile launchers. To remedy this weakness, AT-STs were usually positioned around the Walker's flanks to ensure that nothing was given a clear shot to this underbelly. The Walker could also be disabled with shots to the knee joints. In addition, they lacked rear-facing weaponry, but this was not considered in their design as their primary role was to act as troop transports.